Hi, this is the part 2 of column insertion in this course program. In this course program, we are going to insert our column on our main project. On the screen now, you will see that I'm still on my sample projects. I'm still on my sample projects that we use in the part 1 session, the part 1 tutorial session. So I'm going to move to my main project. Remember, my main project is titled Project Alpha. So I'll go to the File menu. I will click on Open Projects. Then I will look for my projects on the left hand side of this dialog box. I will select Project underscore Alpha, Project Alpha, and click OK to open the project. So this is where we stopped in my previous tutorial on my main project. We have inserted our structural grid for the model. Now we are going to insert our structural column and structural wall in the model from our AutoCAD Drawing we've worked and that we have worked on in my previous tutorial. So I'm going to go to the AutoCAD drawing, my element drawing that we've produced before. So this is my ground floor plan GA, my first floor GA, second, third floor GA, fourth floor GA. You will realize that the element for the first to the fourth floor, they are identical, they are the same. The roof floor has a different GA from the first to fourth floor plan arrangement. Also, the ground floor has the same GA, that's different GA because the ground slab, the oversized concrete, is supported by the foundation wall and the ground. So I will move to what you do now. You zoom to the first floor plan GA at grid intersection A1. We have a W1 label for our vertical element here. The W means the structural wall. So we have a structural wall here, and I should use my measure command on my on the utility in my ribbon. Use my measure distance command. I can measure the length. I know it's a 230 by 920 column, but I just want to show you what you can do when you are working on this. So you can measure the length of the wall. You can see it's 920. The length is 920. I will press space bar again to activate the same command. Click on distance. Then I will measure the width of the structural wall. It's 230. So the width is 230 by 920. So that is the size of my structural wall here. And you can see the structural wall has two insertion points, intersection A1 and intersection A11. So before, I would like to show you, I explained structural column to you in our previous tutorial. I did not explain structural wall. So I want to show you something on Orion software, how to insert structural wall in the model. So I'm going to go to Orion. We have a wall icon. We have a column icon in our member toolbar here. We also have a wall icon. So if I click on it, so we have this is the wall property dialog box. When we worked on the column, we also see the column property dialog box. This is the structural wall property dialog box. I want to click on it to show you the true intersection for wall. As you can see on my screen, the wall. This is a wall element, and you can see it has two intersection points, and the two intersection point is called I and J. And you can see the width of my wall is labeled B. While from the bottom left corner of the column, vertically upward is my B2 dimension. I want you to know this, the B and the B2 dimension. So the B is the width of the column, while from the bottom left corner of the structural wall to the grid, to where the grid is your B2. The I extension, call it this IEST, I'll call it I extension, is the distance from this grid line, the vertical grid line, to the edge of your wall. I call it I extension. So this, because it's for the I intersection point, the I extension. For this J intersection point, we call this dimension the J extension. From the other edge of the column to the vertical structural grid is your J intersection. So I want you to note all this, to know the B dimension, the B2 dimension, the I extension, and the J extension. So I will close this app window now, and then go back to my AutoCAD drawing. So to specify structural wall in the column, we under that app menu I just showed you, you will know that you need to define the width of your wall, B, and that width is 230. So this is 230. So our B is 230. This structural column, this corner here is the lower left corner of the element. So from this lower left corner of the element to your grid 1, your structural grid 1 is your B2. So I will measure that. You can see it is 115, half of 230. So our B is 230, our B2 is 115. Note that. Our extension, this will be my the I is your first point, while the J is your second point. When I'm inserting my column, I'll use A1 as my first insertion point. I'll use J as my second insertion point. So our I extension, it will be, if I should measure it from this corner of the building to this grid line, 115. You can see it's 115. But the J intersection, if I should use the measure command from the face of the column at the top to the grid intersection. And then let me use this face rather. I see it's 95. So we have our B as 230, our B2 as 115, our I extension as 1152, and our J as 95. So this is what I'm going to enter in this structural wall property. As you can see, the label is similar to the column file dialog box as in label 1. But when we start our wall, it will write like 1W1. Like the 1 is for story, W is for structural wall. The 1 is that's the first your first column, your first wall you are using your model. So 1W. If I should start now, I'll have 1W1 label. Sorry, I will close this wall property. Window. I want you start insertion from your first floor plan. I'm on my 5th floor plan now, the roof level. So I need to double click the first story. So this is where you start your insertion. You are not starting from top to bottom. I did not realize this area. So I've clicked on my first story. I will click on the wall property because I want to insert structural wall in my model. My B as measured in the AutoCAD drawing is 230. My B2 is 115. My I as measured is 115, and my J is 95. So I've entered the parameter. Now you have to drag from your first intersection to your second intersection to insert your wall. So I'm going to drag between grid intersection A1 and grid intersection A11. So I'll click on intersection A1 to intersection A11. So you can see if I should zoom in, my structural wall has been inserted. And you can see the size is 920 by 230. Similar to what we have on our software. It's a 920 length wall and a 230 wide wall. If you look along this grid line A, we have similar, identical structural wall there because the label are the same, W1, W1, W1. So this property, I will also put the same thing for all the grid intersection along the line A. So that's what I'm going to do now. Sorry, I will minimize this. Orion. So I want to teach you something. Notice if I should click on you can click on the wall property here to enter the wall property dialog box here. But when you do this, you will not get your previous value used. Remember, I used two. Okay, wow. Okay, I got my last value. Okay, this is okay, fine. But aside from getting to this wall property dialog box from this place, once you have a wall in your model, you don't need to click here. You can just select that element, right-click your mouse, and click on property to take you to your wall property dialog box and to show you the property of that element. From here, you can use this specification here in your last column. You can use it in other position. So you should note that. So I'm going to insert my wall at grid A2 to grid A12. I've done that. I'll do that for this. I'll do that for this till I get to the last grid intersection. Now I've inserted my structural wall. I press escape to remove the wall property dialog box on my keyboard. So now I've inserted my structural wall. You will see they are all 920 by 230. But like on my general arrangement where I use 1W1, I use W1 as my label. On Orion 18 software, we have different label for each of the column. We have CW1 for the first one. We have CW2 for the second one. Even though they are of the same, even though the structural wall are of the same dimension. In Orion 18 software, you cannot use a single label to represent more than to represent several elements. So I want you to note that. I'll go back to my AutoCAD drawing. As you can see, I've inserted my wall in my structure in my Orion 18 structural software. The many vertical structural elements are column. In my next tutorial, we are going to insert the structural column in our Orion 18 software. Thank you for watching this video tutorial, and I hope you've learned a lot. Thank you. Bye bye.